from Alabama's news leader, this is ABC 3340 News at 5.
A distraught mother comes home to see her children being taken into child services and the children's father arrested.
If they go in that house, they would say that's a bad environment. The house is filthy.
Neighbors say this was bound to happen. Good evening, I'm Linda Mays.
And I'm Brenda LeDunn. Pam Huff has the night off. Thanks for joining us.
Well, it all began when a toddler was seen wandering at a gas station on a busy street. Police were called in. What officers found next is described as disturbing. ABC 3340's Brian Somerville is live in Birmingham with exclusive story.
Well, Linda, Sergeant Johnny Williams with the Birmingham Police Department says this kind of call is very unusual. It's not something you see or you hear of every day, but this case happens to be even worse. What started as a child found call now has 2 children in protective custody and their father behind bars.
Oh, you serious? I know he was sleeping out loud.
This mother was heartbroken Tuesday after realizing police were taking her 2 children.
I was asleep when I left.
It started when police received a call of a child at a gas station, all alone. When police arrived, they searched for nearly an hour trying to find the parents, but no luck.
Later, the father arrived, stated that he was the father, and the baby must have gotten out of the house.
The father says the child somehow got out of the house, about a block away, and walked to the gas station. When officers arrived at the house, they found another child about 7 months old. Now, because of the children's condition, police called DHR.
The conditions of their diapers, they hadn't been changed in quite a while. They had waste inside their diapers, which officers had to change here on the scene.
This happens every day. This goes on every day.
Dora Etheridge lives next door. She says the house is a disaster.
If they go in that house, they would say that's a bad environment. The house is filthy.
She says the children are constantly by themselves.
He leaves them in the house by themselves. How you gonna leave children if you're going somewhere? How you gonna leave children in the house by themselves instead of taking them with you? What if the house catches fire and you cross the street?
As for the well-being, Etheridge says she wasn't surprised to hear how the children were found. The children are now in the custody of DHR.
Now, that lady that you see right there in the white shirt, we're told that is the mother of the 2 children that were taken. Also, the father that was taken, Sergeant Johnny Williams told me that he could be facing charges pending this investigation. Live in Birmingham, Brian Somerville, ABC 3340.
Focus at 4's Edward Birch is back at the big board with more of what you're saying. Ed?
Pam, the word that we continue to see on our Facebook thread in regards to this is qualified. If you're qualified enough and you have the experience, why not? You got Barbara Childers says, yes, why not? Deanna Peak, of course, if they're qualified, absolutely. Sylvia, why not? And Kathy Clay that says, believe it or not, there are women out in the world who fully understand the game of football, and they are more than capable of officiating a game or two. And I'd have to agree with that. I think that women are actually some of the biggest football fans around.
I don't feel safe at all. I feel like I need to move somewhere else. And I feel like somebody else needs to pay for the damage that has been done.
Vehicles and a fire station riddled with bullets. An overnight shootout in Fairfield wakes up residents who now are demanding answers. Good evening, I'm Linda Mays.
And I'm Pam Huff. Fairfield police spent this morning picking up dozens of shell casings at a housing complex located on 55th Place, just a block away from Miles College.
Investigators say a shootout between 2 groups damaged multiple vehicles. ABC 3340's Haley Westbrook joins us now live from the housing complex. And Haley, it's a wonder nobody was injured.
You know, it certainly is. These vehicles in front of me were in the line of fire overnight. Take a look at this one. Its back windshield is shattered. There's a car seat in one of these vehicles. Now that car seat has a bullet hole in it. And you know, some of these residents who live here believe the overnight shooting was planned.
We heard at least like 50 gunshots.
We didn't know where it came from.
I hear.
Scared if a bullet gonna come through my window and hit one of my kids.
Bullet holes, broken glass, shell casings scattered across, leaving these residents with more questions than answers.
Good evening. I'm Dave Baird.
And I'm Linda Mays in for Brenda LeDunn tonight. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. Right now, 2 suspects are in custody after a standoff at a home in Inslee. The man seen on your left is Lawan Dontel McNeil. The man seen on the right is Jeffrey Howe. Authorities believe they're connected to a high-speed chase that ended in a triple fatal accident.
Now, earlier this afternoon, a third suspect, 20-year-old Dominique Rashad Smith, turned himself in to authorities. ABC 3340's Bryant Somerville joins us now live. And Bryant, what is the latest?
Well, the latest, Dave, is that compared to what it looked like 15 minutes ago, now it's kind of a ghost town. Nothing but a few police officers left on scene. Other than that, Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies as well as U.S. Marshals have all cleared the scene. Will, of course, I know that Sarah Snyder is also in this area. She's talking to neighbors, and she's going to bring you those interviews tonight on ABC 3340 at 10. For now, reporting live in Inslee, Bryant Somerville, ABC 3340.
This was a silly crime, and this is one of these things that we always wish never happened.
Now, before the deadly crash, police were in hot pursuit of the suspects in a white SUV in Cordova.
That chase started there and ultimately ended on Minor Parkway and Highway 269 in West Birmingham. And that's where we find ABC 3340's Honora Gathings. And Honora, the suspect's route is not as simple as it sounds.
Not at all. It all began with an armed robbery at a house in Cordova that led to an alert. That became a police chase in Dora that continued down Highway 78 onto Minor Parkway behind me, bypassed this crash scene, continued up the road into McDonald's Chapel, even going through yards and a fence before ending up right here. Some of the victims can't speak, but one can.
I think that they should throw the book at them, really. that is just so terrible.
The ordeal actually began with an armed robbery outside a Cordova house on the other side of this hill.
Just, took off dragging our fence down the road.
Dora Police called off its officers once the Tahoe went through English's fence up in McDonald's Chapel, again less than a mile from the crash scene, which took place right here. Now, police say these suspects will face charges beginning with attempted murder that should put them in prison for life. Live in Birmingham, Honora Gathings, ABC 3340.
Honora, thank you. Birmingham detectives spent most of the day reconstructing the accident scene. Police say the suspects barreled through a red light in a white SUV at 100 miles an hour. The suspects ran the red light, then plowed into the family's car, which police say was stopped at the light. Detectives plan to use all evidence collected at the scene to further the investigation. Now, the high-speed pursuit claimed the lives of a Hayden family and injured a Jefferson County deputy.
Yeah, ABC 3340's Kevin Stewart is live now in Hansville with our team coverage of this tragedy. Kevin, what can you tell us about the victims?
Well, Dave, I talked to several close friends of the family who told me just how concerned they were when they could not find the family last night. As you mentioned, they lived over in Hayden, which is just a couple of towns over. I'm told the couple had been together for some time. Amber Verris, Ryan Colwell, and their daughter Rogue usually were at home at night, and that's why friends of the family were so worried. Right now, they're still not sure why they were on the road last night. Ryan Colwell graduated from Hansville High School 2 years ago. Former teacher there remembers him as a comedian with a good heart.
And the way that they died, what a waste. Seriously, was the robbery so important that you had to kill 3 people and a child too?
Colwell would have turned 21 3 weeks from today. Live in Hansville, Kevin Stewart, ABC 3340.
Thank you, Kevin. Be sure to stay with ABC 3340 on the air and on our website for the latest developments on the story. You can also get details on our Facebook page and Twitter page.
Now we head to New Orleans, where the game is going on at the Superdome. You may think you're missing out on the party by not being there, but ABC 3340's Kevin Stewart found out for one fan, being in New Orleans is not so much fun. Why is that, Kevin?
Yeah, it's kind of tough. It's kind of like a mixed story here, Dave. We all know New Orleans loves to have a good time. They can throw a party, and for all the activity, all the excitement happening inside here, plenty of fun to be had out here. Take a look. Folks who couldn't find tickets, folks who never intended to get tickets, just too rich for their blood, those tickets, and they just came down here to have a good time. At times, Tide and Tiger fans together, but we watched people 15 minutes before the game trying to find a ticket. This man from Homewood is absolutely down in the dumps. Earlier this evening, he found out he spent $2,000 on fake tickets.
The thing I didn't look for, on the back there's a yellow stripe, and that's how they got me. Wow, so now I'm out trying to find my wife, which, you know, she wants to go to this game more than anything in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. You know, he picked up those tickets, he said, Saturday down on Canal Street. Now, I've talked to several people out here today, including some folks back in East Alabama who this morning said they picked up tickets for $500. Locals around here say there is no way you are going to get tickets for $500, especially that early in the morning. Now, I mentioned earlier, a lot of fun out here. Some folks were kind of creative. Marissa Mitchell can tell us about some folks like that. Marissa?
Well, Kevin, you know, I spoke with fans who say no doubt they want to be inside of the Superdome, but there are some Tide and LSU supporters who you can find in other parts of the city, and some even in the most unlikely of places. In fact, I found some Alabama supporters in a parking lot on a third floor. We have right before
Our chief photographer, Bill Castle, will take us back and we'll take a look at where we were back in January.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Well, I heard the noise about 3 o'clock this morning, and I got my son by the bed, and we were about to rush downstairs.
High winds of approximately 80 to 90 to 100 miles an hour. Vehicles, when I opened up my back door, actually in my bedroom, you could see when we lost power, lights spinning. And as I went to the back door and I opened the back door, I ripped it out of my hand, and it was vehicles in the funnel cloud.
I started knocking out a lot of my windows at my house.
It was just a huge roar, just an eerie, roary, you know, things hitting the house and, you know, not really being able to see what was going on, but just hearing it.
All of a sudden, our ears started popping. The house literally lifted up, turned, and then came crashing down on top of us.
And all of a sudden, just glass exploded in the house and was flying everywhere. And my daughter come up from, she's got a room in the basement, and we have a guy living upstairs, and he came down, and then we heard over the Heikelbecks, their son was crying for help me, somebody help me. So my daughter went over there and hugged him. I just hugged him, and then we went around back, and Dad was trying to pull stuff out of the swimming pool because that's where he thought his daughter was, because he got blown into the pool along with his son. Well, you see the house, it just raked the whole house into the backyard and into the woods. And he was in the pool, and he figured maybe she'd be there too, but she wasn't. There was many people from the neighborhood came down, and we were scurrying through the woods. It's raining, it's pitch black out, and all of a sudden I looked back at the house, and there was all these lights. So I came back to the house, and they had found her. They had picked her out of the rubble, and they were performing CPR on her, and she was dead.
First time I've been really in a tornado that passed over me, and you could hear it go over, but just the sound of the water getting pulled out of all the plumbing is what stuck in my mind.
You see tornadoes, and you see the aftermath of it. But until you've been this close to one, you don't really get it. And it's the noise and the explosion. I couldn't believe it.
As the storm went away, the first thing I did was pray with my wife and to let her know that I love her and that I'm thankful that we're here.
We thanking God today.
Tornadoes are nothing new to the state of Alabama. We have had them here for a long, long time, and we've had probably more tornadoes than you might imagine.
ABC 3340 is doing its part to make sure people who don't have the money to stay cool this summer can have the opportunity. We've joined with More Than Conquerors Faith Church for the Neighbors in Need air conditioning unit drive. So far, with the help of cash donations, we've collected more than 100 units. 2 of them came from a generous couple from Hoover.
As the old saying goes, when you know better, you do better. And it just touched my heart because I can't imagine that people would not have a fan or an air conditioner.
More than 350 people have applied for the air conditioning units. To help, just go purchase a 5,000 BTU unit. You can drop it off at More Than Conquerors Faith Church or call 322-2644 to see if someone can pick it up.
Live from Dallas, it's a Texas-sized showdown brought to you by BB&T and Benton Nissan. Here's Sports Director Mike Rada.
And the Crimson Tide are in the house. The team arrived here at Cowboy Stadium about 45 minutes ago. Even though the faces don't show it, I'm sure there's a lot of excitement and a lot of nerves, especially for the guys who are filling pretty big shoes of players that helped the school win the national title last year, but who have since moved on. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Texas-sized showdown. Number 2 Alabama against number 8 Michigan. Without a doubt, the marquee game on the opening weekend of the college football season.
2 area families received what they are calling the best Christmas gift ever, a home for the holidays. ABC 3340's General Manager Mike Murphy handed over the keys to Monique Boyd and Deidre Kimball in a ceremony this morning. Habitat for Humanity and hundreds of volunteers built the 2 homes in the past 2 weeks. The families say they are overwhelmed by the volunteer efforts and the charitable donations that made this day possible.
We're gonna move stuff in like day by day. Hopefully it'll be, pretty neat by Christmas.
My very next step is purchasing a Christmas tree so I can put it in the living room and get moved in by Friday.
This is the 10th anniversary of the Home for the Holidays. It is the first year, however, that 2 houses were built and dedicated at the same time in the same neighborhood. ABC 3340 is proud to be one of the sponsors of these Habitat builds. Merry Christmas. In recent weeks, Focus at 4 has received "What's up with that?" questions concerning a foul smell along Highway 280. Donna Lucas Tanemacher wrote, "What's up with the strong sewer odor on Highway 280 between Home Depot and Superior Grill?" And Casey Hughes asked, "Why does 280 reek of sewage all the time?" Focus at 4's Edward Birch put his nose to the ground to try to get some answers.
Some days it's good, some days it's bad. It just smells like a sewage plant running.
Josh Caldwell describes the smell he and others can't help but notice.
Birmingham has been brewing up a storm.
And now beer is one of the most thriving businesses that the Magic City has seen in decades. ABC 3340's Brian Somerville has more on how Birmingham is soaking up the suds.
In the 1960s, Birmingham was booming. Coal, railroading, iron, and steel fueled the Magic City into a new era. The 1970s painted a different picture. Coal was crumbling, rails unraveling, jobs lost. As for iron and steel, what was a prosperous, thriving industry just a decade earlier was slowly fading away, leaving many to wonder, what will be the next big thing to move the Magic City forward? 40 years later, that question might be answered.
It's been great. Business has boomed, and it's just getting better.
It used to be a pipe dream. Until 3 years ago, when Alabama began allowing brewers to create high-gravity beverages containing up to 13.9% alcohol. Since then, success has been spelled B-E-E-R. Just ask Good People Brewing Company co-owner Jason Malone.
So this is your office? Yeah, this is where we do basically everything. Can beer, make beer, email.
And Avondale Brewing Company co-owner Hunter Lake.
This is our brew house.
2 Birmingham-based breweries that are everywhere.
Any local grocery, Publix. Being so new to Alabama, people are picking up on that like wildfire. I mean, restaurants are calling us, asking us, can we have some of your beer to cook with? Whole Foods, package stores.
What we have is good people in Avondale making world-class beer right here in Birmingham.
Neighborhood Hops and Vine owner Chandler Busby says he sells more locally brewed beer than anything else.
They're flying out of here.
He credits the Free the Hops legislation for his business, saying without it, there's no way he'd be able to stay afloat. But people aren't just buying a higher alcohol percentage, they're also buying better ingredients, better complexity, essentially, better beer.
High gravity doesn't just mean high alcohol. High gravity means high quality.
And high demand. Good People packages 60 cases an hour on canning day. Now that's more than 700 cases a day, which is about 17,000 cans.
If nothing else, people want to support Birmingham, they want to support Alabama, and this is one of the things that we do at a world-class level, and it's something to be proud of as citizens here, and I think that's why it's supported so well.
Support that is pouring in from all over the world. Good People and Avondale say they have people from out of town, out of state, out of country, all wanting that Alabama liquid gold.
It's more than just beer that we're really producing. We're helping drive the community.
It's the new thing, the thriving business Birmingham has been waiting for, creating jobs, creating opportunities, and creating beer that everybody knows.
Once you look behind the scenes of what beer does for a community, it's very vast. It's pretty incredible.
So pull up a chair, Birmingham, and have the old barkeep slide you one down. And take pride in the fact that the next big thing is here right now, and it was brewed in your backyard. In Birmingham, Bryant Somerville, ABC 3340.
And brewers say there's still plenty of room to grow in this business. Right now, there are 7 breweries in the state. They are in Birmingham, Gadsden, and Huntsville.
This is a special news presentation from ABC 3340. April 27th, 2011. Alabama changed. Lives shattered. A devastating tornado outbreak destroyed homes, claimed more than 250 lives, and left parts of Alabama broken. Today, 1 year later, Alabama is moving forward. ABC 3340 and Chief Meteorologist James Spann share new insight and stories of hope in April 27th, 1 year later.
Good evening. I'm ABC 3340 Chief Meteorologist James Spann. April 27th, 2011, the day everything changed here in this neighborhood, Pratt City, in the western part of Birmingham and around the state. So many tornadoes, so many lives lost, so much damage. It was a day we will never forget. So this is a tornado emergency. This is a very serious situation. But again, that is something that you pray that you never, ever, ever see. This thing looks like it might be over 1/2 mile wide, maybe up to 3/4 of a mile wide. This will be a day that will go down in state history. And all you can do is pray for those people.
That I know that I cannot wake up from.
It's controlled chaos back here, basically.
It was awful. It was the most scared I've ever been in my life.
About the time I got through the bathroom door, the back of the house was coming off. And it was a wild ride after that.
Hearing people yelling for help and not being able to do anything because you're the person that needs help too.
We felt the felt the pressurization, heard all the windows implode, and then the next thing we knew, everything was flying around and falling in on us.
Within a minute of us going in the door and getting in the room, it hit.
I'm in my living room watching TV, and I look out the window and hear crashing, and I see the tornado over the corner of the building, and I knew it was coming right at me, so I took cover, did what I could, and the Lord smiled on me.
A few moments ago, I had an opportunity in Air 1 to observe the damage from about 500 feet, and to say the least, it is massive. I would estimate on a 3 to 4 mile stretch of the city, at some parts more than a half mile wide, we have utter destruction.
We couldn't get firefighters to help each other because we were all stranded in our own little areas. The roads were just totally blocked. So it was not much you could do as far as for supporting the other guys.
When there's tragedy like this, the first responders, policemen, firemen, paramedics are so important. But what happens when the people you call on need help of their own? April 27th, they made sacrifices. Sacrifices seldom heard. Carl Brownfield of the Shoal Creek Valley Volunteer Fire Department is one of those heroes from April 27th, 2011.
We were listening to James Spann on the TV at my house, and we had heard him saying that there was a tornado coming towards Asheville.
It's coming up in the direction of Asheville, clearly Odenville, St. Clair Springs, Asheville, Whitney Junction, Steele.
We had prepared our storm shelter. We had notified people close by us that we knew were home, that there was a severe storm coming. Some of that was through phone calls, some of it was through text messages. And we heard the sirens go off, and probably 5 minutes after the sirens went off, the tornado was on top of us.
Pam Huff joins us now with part 3 of a special report and a look at what's coming up on Focus at 4. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Linda. Many parents, a favorite Bible verse comes in handy. It is Proverbs 22:6, which says, "Train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it." The couple you're about to meet followed the scripture. What they didn't count on was the devil that almost killed their son, heroin. Now, they admit it is very difficult to tell their story, but they feel compelled to do so to help save others from dying in vain.
Don't be deceived, as we were.
Rick and Cheryl Kelly now live in Atlanta, but they raised their family in Shelby County. Their son was a smart, talented child.
For our son, sports was a very important part of his life, and it's something I enjoyed with him.
He also loved music, even formed a band. Then, in his junior year, 2 close friends died, and a devastating leg injury took him out of the sport he loved and put him on medication.
We don't know if that possibly could have been the beginning of some prescription abuse.
This happy child became distant,
troubled.
His circle of friends changed. Everything about him changed.
Still, he graduated and moved to Auburn to begin college. One night, Rick Kelly got a phone call from Auburn police.
He informed me that they had our son on videotape selling marijuana to an undercover officer.
We wanted to know, what precautions are you taking ahead of Isaac's arrival? Marissa, let's get that conversation started.
Well, Dave, I know I just mentioned a moment ago the importance of charging up cell phones, and that's one thing that people are doing. And here on our Facebook thread, we have a lot of other people sounding off on the precautions that they're taking. We have Jenny Davis Bussey, who says, "I have 3 days of food, a camp stove, hot water heater, gas, bottled water, flashlights, candles, and prescription medication." That's also very important.
What do you think? Should the county cease inpatient care at Cooper Green Mercy in order to save some money? Or should inpatient care continue? Focus at 4's Edward Birch joins us now to start the conversation. Ed?
Pam, as this story continues, it seems like our Facebook thread is mimicking just how this issue is shaping up, where people are on both sides of it. And we got Katisha Head that says that Cooper Green is a good thing. The hospital has helped so many people that could not find help anywhere else. I think it should continue on as it has.
1,000 toys for deserving boys and girls. That's the goal for the Toys for Tots campaign. For nearly 26 hours, ABC 3340 has been asking you to donate new unwrapped toys for needy children this holiday season. Chief Meteorologist James Spann joins us live from Legacy Barbecue in Hoover, dressed in holiday suspender splendor. James, we've just gotten word we've reached that goal.
We are breathing easier. We made it with about 45 minutes to spare. By the way, Dave, did you ever eat Play-Doh when you were a child? Did you ever eat this stuff?
It's good.
You know, I used to eat it and my hair fell out, so I'd advise caution not to do that. No, this is an example of what people have been bringing in here all day. It started last night. We really had a pretty deep need about 24 hours ago, but the response has been tremendous. And again, this is just a part of it. In fact, look at this bicycle here. I mean, this is, some people have really gone out of their way to bring in some fantastic stuff, but you can imagine the smiles on the kids' faces on Christmas morning, but more importantly, I think it's the smiles on the kids' faces that were involved in giving these gifts. I'm telling you, every single child that came in here today, they were smiling, they were excited, there was great joy. So it's been a life lesson for everybody and a reminder of how good the state of Alabama happens to be when it comes to helping our neighbors in need. So no pressure, guys, we're done. How about that? 80,000.
Just headed home, 2:30 a.m. Shots rang out.
This driveway is as far as Victor Cunningham made it after coming home from a night out with friends. Someone shot and killed him, and police need your help to find who that is.
We know the killer is out there. We know someone knows something about this case.
Police say Cunningham and a friend left Platinum nightclub.
They didn't go in, they just kind of rode around and just headed home, pulled up in the driveway.
Cunningham in the passenger seat.
Someone was following or either waiting at that location.
Shot and killed.
Neighbors saw a white compact car speeding away from the scene.
Tonight in the Zone, is Alabama out of the championship hunt? And if they are, do you blame Nick Saban? Gene Chizik sounds like a beaten man, and a former Auburn Tiger rips the current coaches and players. Was he out of line? Plus, temper tantrums everywhere in Lubbock, in racing, and on the golf course. You're in the Zone. Hello and welcome to the Zone, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Radick, joined by two guys who seldom blow their lids, Doug Segrest and Kevin Skarbinski.
No, but I've already lost my lid.
Define seldom.
Remember, we always do want to hear from you, so tell us what you're thinking, what you'd like to know about. Join our discussions right now on Facebook and Twitter at ABC3340. Use the hashtag FocusAt4.
I'm James Spann. A big upper trough keeping Alabama mostly cloudy and drizzly today, but the sun has been breaking out on the western side of the state. Look for a nice warming trend in coming days, but more changes by the weekend. I've got a full forecast update coming up on ABC 3340 News at 6 o'clock. That starts now.
Live from Alabama's news leader, this is ABC 3340 News at 6.
Good evening. I'm Dave Baird.
And I'm Linda Mays in for Brenda LeDunn tonight. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. Right now, 2 suspects are in custody after a standoff at a home in Inslee. The man seen on your left is Lawan Dontel McNeil. The man seen on the right is Jeffrey Howe. Authorities believe they're connected to a high-speed chase that ended in a triple fatal accident.
Now, earlier this afternoon, a third suspect, 20-year-old Dominique Rashad Smith, turned himself in to authorities. ABC 3340's Bryant Somerville joins us now live. And Bryant, what is the latest?
Well, the latest, Dave, is that compared to what it looked like 15 minutes ago, now it's kind of a ghost town. Nothing but a few police officers left on scene. Other than that, Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies as well as U.S. Marshals have all cleared the scene. Definitely a big scene earlier. We heard a lot of bangs. You might remember live on television. Actually, that wasn't a battering ram. U.S. Marshals have told me that was actually a flashbang grenade that officers threw into that house. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about those 2 suspects that they brought out of the house. The second suspect that they brought out wearing that brown coat, his name is Jeffrey Howe. He is the suspect from last night, and I've been told that officers did take him to Cooper Green Mercy Hospital to be evaluated. It's a standard
procedure. The first gentleman that they brought out wearing that white T-shirt, his name is Lawan Dontel McNeil. And we're told that his only crime, not necessarily connected to last night's chase, his only crime is helping Hal to hide. Now we're told that Birmingham Police and the Gulf Coast Regional Fugitive Task Force, which is a kind of a subsidiary of U.S. Marshals, they are the ones that went into the house to retrieve those two suspects. But right now, again, nothing really left on scene, just a few officers as well as just one or two cruisers. But the street seems to be very, very quiet. Very amazing how quiet the street is right now. We'll, of course, I know that Sarah Snyder is also in this area. She's talking to neighbors, and she's going to bring you those interviews tonight on ABC 3340 at 10. For now, reporting live in Inslee, Brian Somerville, ABC 3340.
This was a silly crime, and this is one of these things that we always wish never happened.
Now, before the deadly crash, police were in hot pursuit of the suspects in a white SUV in Cordova.
That chase started there and ultimately ended on Minor Parkway and Highway 269 in West Birmingham. And that's where we find ABC 3340's Honora Gathings. And Honora, the suspect's route is not as simple as it sounds.
Not at all. It all began with an armed robbery at a house in Cordova that led to an alert. That became a police chase in Dora that continued down Highway 78 onto Minor Parkway behind me, bypassed this crash scene, continued up the road into McDonald's Chapel, even going through yards and a fence before ending up right here. Some of the victims can't speak, but one can.
I think that they should throw the book at them, really. I mean, that is just so terrible.
The ordeal actually began with an armed robbery outside a Cordova house on the other side of this hill. That's where police say the suspects hit an elderly man over the head, stole his wallet, and fled. Police Chief Kenneth Bobo says the man's wife was okay, but the man had to get head staples. The suspects will face attempted murder.
We want them bad, and like I said, we're still investigating to determine if any other robberies or any other incidents occurred before this crime occurred.
More crimes occurred afterwards. Door police spotted the men throwing the robbery victim's wallet out of the car window and followed the white Tahoe into Jefferson County to McDonald Chapel.
Yeah, I'll show you. You want to walk up here?
That's where Jeff English found them, in his yard.
What they did was they came through that yard right there, and I don't know how they did it, but they come in between the pool and those bushes right there. And they come around, and the first guy, he jumped out of the truck and jumped over the fence and took off running. All right, well then somehow, I don't know how that guy, the other guy did it when he was driving, but he backed up and then he just took out the fence and just, took off dragging our fence down the road.
Dora Police called off its officers once the Tahoe went through English's fence up in McDonald's Chapel, again less than a mile from the crash scene, which took place right here. Now, police say these suspects will face charges beginning with attempted murder that should put them in prison for life. Live in Birmingham, Honora Gathings, ABC 3340.
Honora, thank you. Birmingham detectives spent most of the day reconstructing the accident scene. Police say the suspects barreled through a red light in a white SUV at 100 miles an hour. The suspects ran the red light, then plowed into the family's car, which police say was stopped at the light. Detectives plan to use all evidence collected at the scene to further the investigation. Now, the high-speed pursuit claimed the lives of a Hayden family and injured a Jefferson County deputy.
Yeah, ABC 3340's Kevin Stewart is live now in Hanceville with our team coverage of this tragedy. Kevin, what can you tell us about the victims?
Well, Dave, I talked to several close friends of the family who told me just how concerned they were when they could not find the family last night. As you mentioned, they lived over in Hayden, which is just a couple of towns over. I'm told the couple had been together for some time. Amber Verris, Ryan Colwell, and their daughter Rogue usually were at home at night, and that's why friends of the family were so worried. Right now, they're still not sure why they were on the road last night. Ryan Colwell graduated from Hanceville High School 2 years ago. Former teacher there remembers him as a comedian with a good heart.
And the way that they died, what a waste. I mean, seriously, I mean, was the robbery so important that you had to kill 3 people and a child too?
Colwell would have turned 21 3 weeks from today. Live in Hanceville, Kevin Stewart, ABC 3340.
Thank you, Kevin. Be sure to stay with ABC 3340 on the air and on our website for the latest developments on the story. You can also get details on our Facebook page and Twitter page.
In Tuscaloosa, a janitor is accused of having sexual contact with a student in a bathroom at Central High School. 28-year-old Curtis Hodges is charged with a school employee having sexual contact with a student under the age of 19. Now, ABC 3340's Isaiah Harper is live in our Tuscaloosa newsroom with more. Isaiah, you have the story.
Well, that's right, Dave. Hodges has actually been fired from the Tuscaloosa City school system. According to court records, he allegedly called that student on her cell phone while she was in class and told her where to meet him. People living near Central High School say they just can't believe it that a janitor allegedly had sexual contact with a student alone in a bathroom.
It happened. It should not happen at school.
Carrie Ray says she's disturbed.
My grandkids will be going there next week, so I'm glad they got the crew.
Police say it happened September the 7th and was captured by surveillance video at the school. They say after calling the student from class, 28-year-old Curtis Hodges is seen following the student into a girls' restroom near the school gymnasium, and a second janitor locked the door behind them, then acted as a lookout.
Them two men should be out of the system. They supposed to be teaching them kids the right way, and then doing their work. They don't supposed to be watching no kid at all. They don't supposed to be at that school at all.
Court documents state Hodges kissed the student, fondled her, and made her fondle him. Police say a school administrator passed by and became suspicious of what was going on. People in the community are outraged.
Even for the guy like to watch out for the other one, that's child's play. So they're wrong, no ends about it. Now, you know, now one thing about innocent until proven guilty, but you caught in the act, you got to pay the due.
Well, police say that second janitor may actually face charges. As of right now, both have been fired from the Tuscaloosa City school system. Hodges is out of jail on $12,000 bond. Reporting live in Tuscaloosa, Isaiah Harper, ABC 3340.
All right, thanks, Isaiah. Psychiatric testing for the man accused of poisoning the tumors oak trees in Auburn may take longer than expected.
And are some women and minorities being slighted in Jefferson County? The county is under a consent decree, but find out why an outside firm will not investigate the county's hiring practices. You're watching ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.
From a few hours to years, that's the range of how long psychiatric testing could take for the Alabama fan charged with poisoning the tumors oak trees in Auburn. Harvey Updike surrendered for psychiatric testing last week. State mental health officials say that evaluations can last from a month to years when a person is taken to a state mental health facility for screening. Now, Updike was set for trial this week. Of course, that case on hold indefinitely.
Why are women and minorities not applying for roads and transportation jobs in Jefferson County? Well, the county's human resources director won't get extra help finding out. Right now, the county is under a consent decree due to concern about whether women and minorities were being hired. But the county denied the HR director's request to pay someone to look at the issue because a consulting firm is already being hired for the same work.
We are attempting to do the right thing, and that we will continue to attempt to do the right thing.
A federal lawsuit has also been filed over the issue.
The deadline to reach agreements with area hospitals has passed. The Jefferson County Commission still doesn't know where Cooper Green patients will eventually go for certain services. And when commissioners voted to close inpatient services at the hospital by December, they decided that the hospital deals would be settled by September 28th. No agreements have been made, but they say they aren't worried yet.
It's going to come down to how are we going to pay those hospitals and what rate? And that's something we're still working on because we're still fine-tuning exactly what it is that those hospitals will be provided.
Inpatient services are still expected to end at Cooper Green in December.
Some members of the state legislature have tried for more than 10 years to rewrite the state's constitution one article at a time. 2 of the rewritten articles are ready to go before voters on the November ballot. The revisions would bring the language up to date and reflect changes in business practices.
Let's get James Spann in here because I'm liking this weather. It's got a fall feel.
I like these 60s today. It felt pretty good, and now the sun is beginning to break through. Let's take a look at our Skycam network. That's the Coleman Skycam.
Few rays of sun back on the western horizon. High today only 64. We should be at 80 this time of the year. What about the rest of the week and the weekend? The 7-day planning forecast is coming up, so stay with us.
Thanks, James. It sounds like Les Miles has left the door open for Honey Badger to return to the Tigers.
And who'd have thought Auburn and Arkansas would be a battle of two teams with one win each? Stu McCann has the Auburn Media Day report up next.
James Span's forecast is brought to you by Talladega Superspeedway.
I'm James Spann. Temperatures today almost 20 degrees below average, but in coming days the weather warms up, low 80s late this week, but then more cool air. The forecast is next. We'll kick off the weather with our Skycam network, kind of give you a tour across Alabama. And hey, the camera's working, okay? They're in the clouds up there. That's our Cheehaw Skycam. They have been basically socked in all day long. Not one ray of sun. The temperature is only 58 degrees. Remember, we should be at 80 this time of the year. That high of 64 actually came at midnight last night. But if you cross over to the western side of the state, look at that. Not a cloud in the sky. That's our Skycam at Hamilton High School. They managed to see a high of 71, right now 69. And from Coleman, that's a nice looking sky. That's gorgeous. That's looking back on the western horizon there. The high was only 64. And one more stop. Let's go way down south. Always a nice scene. That's our Skycam on the Alabama Gulf Coast at the Phoenix All Suites. It's clear at Gulf Shores. Their high today was 75. Right now, 74. Temperatures are mostly in the 60s across the northern half of the state this afternoon. We have 63 right now for Anniston and Gadsden. Fort Payne barely out of the 50s today. They're sitting at 61. And again, the clouds have been hanging tough over here on the eastern side of the state. Birmingham at 65. The warmer readings over here in West Alabama where the sun is back. Tuscaloosa 70, Muscle Shoals 70, Haleyville coming in at 66 degrees. We'll check the radar. We had the little light rain and drizzle today. Not exactly a pleasant day. Most locations not getting enough rain to measure. And as you can see, nothing showing up on the radar. Probably a few patches of drizzle near the Georgia border. Those will likely be ending soon. You can see the composite today showing a few little spritzes of rain here. But again, most of that is gone. And generally speaking, for the rest of the week, the weather will be dry. But having said that, we have one more bit of energy that will pass through here tomorrow evening. The main upper trough is passing through here now, but this secondary feature here is near Shreveport. That passes by here tomorrow night. So a slight chance of a shower late tomorrow and tomorrow night, and then we'll be rain-free on Thursday and Friday. No rain, by the way, for the high school football games this week. This is the RPM. This is 5 o'clock tomorrow. So again, a slight chance of a shower. But on Thursday, we'll have sunshine back in full force. Next dose of cool air coming in here late this weekend. We'll probably see the coolest air so far this season by Sunday and Monday of next week. Our forecast for tonight, the sky becoming fair. We'll forecast the low at 50, but keep in mind some fog will likely form. Tomorrow, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, slight chance of a shower, the high 77. And for Thursday, the sky mostly sunny, the high at 82. Hey, check out the change over the weekend. Saturday, the high 82, a small chance of a shower. And Sunday, temperatures drop almost 20 degrees. The high 63 will be close to 40 by Monday morning. A good chance we'll see 30s across the colder pockets of North Alabama. Catch my forecast every day on 98.7 KISS FM. And I wonder if some of those really cold pockets might see the first frost of the season Monday morning.
Well,
wow.
October knows how to bring it.
Coming in early.
Yes, thank you, James.
All right.
Hey, Jeff Spiegel with us now. A tale of two teams in need of a win.
Now, this is a must-win for both teams, Dave. An interesting matchup Saturday at Jordan-Hare. Two teams in desperation mode. Stu McCann joins us from the newsroom. He covered Auburn's Media Day today. Stu, no one predicted these teams would have one win each right now.
That's right, Jeff, because we're used to seeing Auburn and Arkansas fight for the lead in the SEC West, not the cellar. And Arkansas has looked that part in the cellar during a 4-game losing streak. Gene Chizik knows too much about the Razorbacks and their quarterback to take that at face value.
Again, on paper, doesn't necessarily look like what it looks like on film because they do. They've got some very dangerous players on their football team.
Public enemy number one is Tyler Wilson. The Arkansas quarterback has had more success against Auburn than any current player in the SEC. In 2 games against the Tigers, Wilson has thrown for 6 touchdowns and almost 600 yards. The Razorbacks rolled up more than 500 yards last week against Texas A&M.
Everything that he was built up to be preseason, he still is. And again, I know things haven't gone exactly the way they envisioned them going, but that hasn't changed him as a quality, and his qualities as a quarterback.
we have to have him worried about their pressure. We don't want to. The plan is not to get in a shootout. You know, we want to stop this offense early.
The plan to put the brakes on Arkansas's veteran quarterback could involve a larger than usual dose of youth. Coach Chiswick said freshman defensive backs Josh Hosley and Jonathan Jones have earned a spot on the field against the Razorbacks.
I know probably as a freshman, I know he's probably going to try to take shots on my side. So going into it, I just been prepared. But facing a guy like that is just a good challenge to see exactly where we are and where I'm at.
And Jeff, coming up at 10 o'clock, is this a make or break game for Gene Chiswick and Kyle Frazier?
All right, Stu, we look forward to that. Well, did you think the Honey Badger was really done at LSU after being kicked out for failing a drug test? Les Miles said today in an interview on ESPN Radio, there was a legitimate chance that Tyrann Mathieu' story would have a happy ending with the LSU football family. Read into that what you will. And before we go, Cam Newton's personality and trophy collection are featured in one of those ESPN commercials. The scene is the newsroom. John Anderson's cubicle neighbor Cam getting yet another trophy.
What'd you win now? Golden water cooler. Got it for a joke I told in the break room.
What was the joke?
It was... It's about me, wasn't it? Yes.
Well, Cam was the butt of a joke in this Charlotte Observer cartoon a few days ago. The little balloon says, "I like to pretend there's a big S on my chest." Instead, it's a picture of Hello Kitty.
Oh.
Yeah. 4 touchdown passes, but 5 interceptions and 2 fumbles so far, and the Panthers are 1-3.
It's a great football game to watch, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello Kitty. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure.
And we will be back. You are watching ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.
At 10, we continue to follow today's developments after Monday's triple fatal crash.
Yeah, we'll have the latest on the now 3 suspects who have been apprehended. Plus, another food recall affecting products sold in Alabama. Popcorn could be the new problem this time. And why one restaurant got shut down for the meat it was cutting in the kitchen. We'll tell you why it couldn't be put on the menu. Join us at 10. One word, roadkill. And I'm not referring to James Spann this time.
James is here for a final check on the forecast. Dave.
Why do I think this story is going to run right before the weather segment and they're going to gross me? I
Who
don't know.
knows? Place for it.
Tune in and find out.
I can't wait. Meat that can't be sold. Let's go to the Skycam quick because the sun's about to go down. We were debating if that sunset is going to make it. And
beautiful.
It made it. I mean, we can sit here and just watch it go right over the horizon. And how about them apples? Up in Cullman, the temperature right now is 62. High today was 64, and notice how the sky is it's gone.
Look at that.
We watched the sunset live
awesome?
Together. Isn't that
Beautiful.
cool? Let's look at the 7-day one more time. A small chance of a shower tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. We warm up a little bit on Thursday and Friday. Much cooler late this weekend. A forecast update tonight at 10.
The 60s, that's cool enough.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's all of our news for now.
Night Team has your next news at 10. We'll see you then.